the better question is, what didn't you worry about with your first child? Mr. Toastmaster and friends, the concern I had with my first child was I was convinced this child was never, ever going to walk. A whole year passed, and then another month, and then another, but then she did walk. And when I look at these shoes today that she wears, I'm so incredibly proud of how far that she's come. I mean, look, she's worn holes in them. She runs, she rides her bike, she climbs trees. She wore these shoes when she won the title of fastest first grade girl at her school. And it all started with those first steps. The kind of strange thing is, though, as long as I waited for her to get to that point, I can't really remember that first moment when she began to walk. I think it's because she didn't learn to walk in one moment. She actually just got out, step after step, day after day, and got better and better at walking. And I think this is a good metaphor for finding your pathway to success in life. It's not something that happens in one moment. It's preparation that happens step after step, day after day. They say, that a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step, but I think that leaves out something really important. A journey of 1,000 miles is made up of millions of tiny steps. And that's how you get to where you want to be in life. Well, now an aside. 2 years ago, I would not feel qualified in the least to be giving you a speech about finding success in life. I was feeling kind of like those beat up shoes. I had found out within 2 months that A, my job was in jeopardy, and B, my marriage was over. And I was just paralyzed by fears. What if I couldn't find a nice place to live? What if I didn't get tenure? What if child support just wasn't enough to live on? So although I felt really paralyzed, I started to take some steps forward. I worked out a really detailed budget so I could see I could stretch the dollar a little further. To try to build my job skills, I took the step of going to my first Toastmasters meeting. And now when I look at these shoes, I'm also really proud. I scored these for like $5 at a consignment sale. And these represents to me that, these steps I took to feel more financially secure. And I realized that now, today, step after step, day after day, I've grown to be the financially independent woman that I want to be. Then one day, my daughter came home in these shoes. I had sent her to her dad's house in a brand new pair of Skechers, so I was furious. I said to her, "Raina, where are your tennis shoes?" And she said, "I don't know." And normally that would not fly at my house, but I knew how things worked at her dad's house. I call it the black hole. Things get just sucked into this vortex, never to return. And sadly, at the time, small little irritations like that could balloon into gigantic arguments and really power struggles. And I really regret to say, but at the time, I was just totally paralyzed in that anger and bitterness, and it was hard to move forward. But finally, I did take some steps. I sat down with their new stepmom and had lunch with her. I actually would text my husband, or ex-husband, when an important event came up at the school. I actually bit my tongue when those caustic comebacks, they were just dying to come out. And then one day, my daughter came home with these shoes. Her dad had bought them to replace those shoes that disappeared into the black hole, never to return. But it represents to me how far we've come. Step after step, day after day, we've really made progress in becoming the kind of co-parents that our children need us to be. So one day I confided after work with a colleague about all this I was going on in my life, and she said to me, "Jessica, you're a strong woman. You'll get through this." And I really held that compliment at arm's length. It's like, me? A strong woman? It didn't make sense at the time. I'd done nothing extraordinary. But lately I've started person has nothing to do with going out and accomplishing the extraordinary. Being a strong person is simply facing those fears or anger or resentment that paralyze us and taking that step forward. Being a strong person is about just learning how to walk, step after step, day after day, getting to that place you want to be in life. So today I do feel like a strong woman. I feel we can all be strong people. What is all we have to do? Just every day, take one step at a time, one day at a time.